Concrete is the single most consumed material on the planet after water. Every year, humans pour and stack more of it than anything else we produce. More than steel, more than plastic, more than wood. And yet almost nobody making YouTube videos about getting rich ever mentions it, because gray rectangular blocks don't look glamorous next to dropshipping screenshots or crypto charts. But here's the thing nobody's telling you. Some of the most consistently profitable, recession-resistant small businesses in America right now are built entirely around this boring gray material. Not because concrete is exciting, because it's necessary, and necessary things get paid for even when the economy is falling apart. In this video, we're walking through 15 real business models built around concrete blocks, from manufacturing to installation to niche specialty work, that skilled, well-run operations can realistically push toward $2,000 a day in revenue. I want to be upfront about something before we start. That number represents strong days for an established, competently run operation, not a guaranteed outcome on day one, and definitely not passive income. Every single one of these requires real skill, real labor, and usually real startup capital. This isn't financial advice, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Think of this as a map of where the money actually flows in this industry, so you know where to focus your research if any of these genuinely interest you. Let's get into it. Business number 1. Concrete masonry unit manufacturing. This is the actual production of concrete blocks themselves, CMUs, as they're called in the trade. A block manufacturing operation uses a machine that compresses a specific mix of cement, aggregate, and water into standardized block shapes, which then cure and get sold to contractors, hardware stores, and construction companies. The barrier to entry here is real. A decent block-making machine, even a manual or semi-automatic one, represents a meaningful upfront investment, and you need space to cure and store inventory. But the math on the other side is compelling. Blocks are heavy, they're expensive to ship long distances, and construction projects need thousands of them at a time. That combination means local block manufacturers have a genuine geographic moat. A contractor 40 minutes away isn't shipping blocks in from 3 states over when someone down the road is making them fresh. Established operations selling to regional contractors and builders can move enough volume on a good day to clear that $2,000 mark comfortably, especially during peak building season. Business number 2. Masonry and block laying contracting. This is the actual skilled trade of stacking, leveling, and mortaring concrete blocks into walls, foundations, and structures. Masons are frankly in short supply in most parts of the country right now, because it's physically demanding work that fewer young people are entering compared to decades past. That scarcity translates directly into pricing power. A skilled masonry crew charging by the square foot or by the block, working on a residential foundation or a commercial wall project, can realistically bill well past $2,000 for a single day's labor, especially once you're running a crew of 3 or 4 rather than working solo. The startup cost here is mostly about acquiring the skill itself. Tools are relatively inexpensive compared to almost any other trade on this list. Business number 3. Retaining wall installation. Anyone with a sloped property, a drainage problem, or a landscaping project that needs to hold back soil eventually needs a retaining wall, and concrete block systems. The interlocking segmental kind you see in residential landscaping have become the dominant material for this because they don't require the specialized skill that poured concrete or natural stone demands. A retaining wall business sits at the intersection of landscaping and masonry, and it tends to attract homeowners with real budgets because retaining walls are functional necessities, not optional upgrades, when erosion or grading problems threaten a property. Material costs get passed straight through to the client, labor margins on installation are healthy, and a single sizable residential retaining wall project can represent several $1,000s of revenue completed over a few days, which averages out nicely against that daily target once you're running consistent bookings. Business number 4. Concrete block and paver driveway installation. Driveways are one of those purchases homeowners genuinely can't avoid forever. Cracked, sinking, or ugly driveways get replaced, period. Interlocking concrete pavers have become enormously popular over the past 2 decades because they offer a premium look at a lower cost than natural stone, and they're modular enough that repairs don't require redoing an entire surface. A driveway installation crew charges by the square foot, and material plus labor markups on a mid-sized residential driveway can easily represent a multi-thousand-dollar job. Run 2 or 3 of these simultaneously with a properly staffed crew, and hitting $2,000 in a single working day becomes a realistic, repeatable outcome rather than an outlier. Business number 5. Hardscaping and outdoor living construction. This is the broader category that includes patios, outdoor kitchens, fire pits, seating walls, and walkways, almost all of which are built using concrete block or paver systems designed specifically for this purpose. Hardscaping has exploded in popularity because homeowners increasingly treat their backyards as extensions of their living space, and the profit margins on a well-designed hardscape project tend to be higher than almost anything else on this list, because clients are paying for design and aesthetic value, not just function. A single backyard patio and fire pit combination project can run into the 5-figure range for a mid-sized suburban home, meaning even a modest-sized hardscaping company completing projects on a rolling basis can average well past $2,000 a day across a busy season. Business number 6. Foundation and basement wall construction. New home construction and additions almost always require a concrete block or poured concrete foundation, and specialized foundation contractors handle this specific high-stakes portion of a build before anyone else touches the site. This is skilled, code-regulated work. Foundations have to meet engineering specifications, and mistakes here are catastrophically expensive to fix later, which is exactly why the contractors who do it well command serious rates. A foundation crew working with a home builder on a steady pipeline of new construction can bill a full day's labor and materials at a rate that clears $2,000 without much difficulty, particularly in regions with active residential construction markets. Business number 7. Insulated concrete form construction, commonly called ICF. This is a more modern building technique where hollow, insulating foam blocks are stacked like oversized concrete blocks and then filled with poured concrete, creating an extremely energy-efficient, disaster-resistant wall system in a single step. ICF construction has been steadily gaining market share, especially in regions prone to hurricanes or tornadoes, because the resulting walls are dramatically more resistant to wind and impact than traditional stick frame construction. Contractors who specialize in ICF installation occupy a genuine specialty niche. There simply aren't that many crews trained in this specific method yet in most markets, which means less competition and stronger pricing per square foot than standard construction work. Business number 8. Concrete block and rubble crushing for recycled aggregate. This one's less obvious, but it's a legitimately growing niche tied to sustainability trends in construction. When buildings get demolished, the concrete block and rubble has to go somewhere, and increasingly, instead of landfills, that material gets crushed on site or at a dedicated facility into recycled aggregate, which then gets resold for use in new construction projects, road, base, or drainage applications. This requires industrial crushing equipment, which represents a serious upfront investment, but the input material is often nearly free. Demolition companies frequently pay to have debris hauled away, meaning your raw material cost can be negative while your output product sells at a genuine market price. Operations that land contracts with demolition companies and municipalities can process enough volume to make this one of the more scalable businesses on this entire list. Business number 9. Split face and decorative block fabrication. Not all concrete block is the plain gray rectangular kind you picture. Split face block, which has a rough, natural stone-like texture, and various decorative and colored block products, command significantly higher prices than standard CMUs, while using largely the same manufacturing process, just with different molds and finishing techniques. Landscape architects, custom home builders, and commercial developers pay a real premium for these aesthetic upgrades, and a manufacturer who develops a good product line in this category can charge multiples of what standard block sells for, dramatically improving margins on the exact same production capacity. Business number 10. Concrete block cleaning, sealing, and restoration. Concrete block surfaces, retaining walls, exterior walls, driveways, patios accumulate dirt, mold, efflorescence, and staining over time, and homeowners and property managers pay to have that surface professionally cleaned and resealed to extend its life and restore its appearance. This is a lower barrier to entry business compared to most others on this list, requiring pressure washing equipment and sealant application tools rather than heavy machinery, which makes it an accessible entry point for someone without deep capital to start with. It's also recurring revenue by nature, since sealed surfaces need reapplication every few years, giving operators a built-in reason to return to the same client base repeatedly. Business number 11. Concrete block equipment rental. Instead of doing the physical work yourself, this business model rents out the machinery everyone else on this list needs. Block laying machines, mortar mixers, masonry saws, compactors for paver installation, and small-scale block manufacturing equipment. Equipment rental businesses benefit from a straightforward economic advantage. Contractors would rather rent expensive specialized equipment for the specific jobs that need it than tie up capital-owning machinery that sits idle most of the year. A well-stocked rental operation, serving a busy regional construction market, can generate steady daily revenue with comparatively less physical labor than the trades it's serving, though it does require significant upfront capital to build out the equipment fleet. Business number 12. Custom concrete block products for landscaping and outdoor decor. This covers things like custom fire pit kits, planters, garden edging blocks, and decorative retaining elements sold directly to homeowners or through landscaping supply stores. It's a smaller scale manufacturing niche compared to full CMU production, often achievable with more modest equipment, and it benefits from direct-to-consumer sales channels like local markets, online storefronts, and partnerships with garden centers. Margins per unit tend to be strong because these products are sold on design appeal rather than pure commodity pricing. Business number 13. Acoustic and soundproofing block wall installation. Specialized concrete block products, designed specifically for sound dampening, are used in recording studios, commercial buildings near highways or airports, and multifamily residential construction where noise transmission between units is a serious concern. This is a genuine specialty niche with relatively few contractors who understand the specific installation requirements, which means less competitive pricing pressure and the ability to work with commercial clients who have real budgets and understand the value of proper acoustic engineering. Business number 14. Storm shelter and safe room construction. In regions of the country prone to tornadoes, there's steady, ongoing demand for reinforced concrete block safe rooms and storm shelters built to specific FEMA guidelines, often installed in garages, basements, or as standalone structures on residential property. This work commands premium pricing because it's safety-critical construction that homeowners are willing to pay well for, particularly following any high-profile severe weather event in a region, which tends to spike demand noticeably. Contractors who specialize in this niche and understand the specific structural requirements can build a steady business around a relatively narrow but consistently needed service. Business number 15. Wholesale and export distribution of concrete block products. This is more of a logistics and sales-focused business model than a hands-on trade, involving sourcing concrete block products from manufacturers and distributing them to construction supply retailers, contractors, or in some cases, exporting to regions with growing construction markets and less developed local manufacturing capacity. Distribution businesses make their money on volume and margin management rather than production or installation, and they benefit from relationships with both manufacturers and end buyers, functioning as the connective tissue that keeps material flowing efficiently through a regional or international market. Looking at this list as a whole, there's a pattern worth pointing out explicitly. The businesses that most reliably approach or exceed that $2,000 daily figure aren't the ones with the lowest barrier to entry. They're the ones that combine a genuine skill or specialty with strong, consistent local demand. Masonry, foundation work, and hardscaping all require real expertise that takes time to develop. But that expertise is precisely what protects your pricing power once you have it, because you're not competing against everyone with a truck and a shovel. On the other end, businesses like cleaning and sealing or equipment rental offer lower barriers to entry, but typically require more volume or scale to reach the same daily numbers. It's also worth being honest about the parts of this industry that don't show up in a highlight reel. Every single one of these businesses involves physical labor, weather dependency, seasonal demand swings in colder climates, and genuine safety risks that come with working around heavy materials and equipment. None of them are passive. None of them scale overnight. The people actually making strong money in concrete block businesses got there by putting in years building reputation, developing skill, and reinvesting profits into better equipment and bigger crews, not by watching a video and starting the next morning. But if you're looking for an industry that isn't going anywhere, that doesn't depend on algorithm changes or shifting consumer trends, and that benefits from genuine structural scarcity in skilled labor, concrete block work is about as durable a bet as construction has to offer. Buildings will keep needing foundations. Homeowners will keep wanting patios and driveways and retaining walls. And somewhere in your area right now, there's probably more demand for skilled block work than there are people willing to do it, which in almost every industry that's ever existed has always been exactly where the money quietly accumulates.